Hi everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Live. I am your host, Crystal Freie, a woman's best friend. Tonight on the show, we are talking about your purpose. You have a purpose, but do you know what it is? Each one of us was created with a purpose that is specific to us. Now, that doesn't mean that other people aren't called to do the same thing that you are. That doesn't mean that they will not have the same kind of experiences or wanting to do the same things and help people the same way that you do. For instance, some people are called to be nurses. Some are called to be teachers, preachers, entertainers. But each of us brings a unique quality to our calling, to our purpose. And do you know what that quality is? It's you. Because while there are tons of actors and actresses out there, not one single person, not one of them is the same. They each bring their own unique style, their own unique perspective, their experiences, everything that they add into their passion, to their craft, to what they do. They each bring their own brand of themselves. And so while there are many people who do the same thing, no one will do it just the same way that you do. That's the same way that it is for each of us. We are gifted with specific talents from our Creator, and they were meant to be used to bring our purpose to fruition, to share our light with the world. We were each created uniquely. While we may share similar traits, there are lots of people who have blonde hair, lots of people who like to talk, lots of people who would love to be up on stage and, sing, dance, entertain, tons of people who do that kind of thing. But no one is going to do the thing that you do like you. That's kind of your superpower, actually. You are your own superpower. Now, some of you may not have discovered your purpose yet, and that's okay. I actually have spent the majority of my entire adult life looking for my purpose, asking what I was put here to do. Spent a lot of time in thoughtful meditation, a lot of time in prayerful agony over what am I supposed to be doing with my life. Because we only get one, right? You've got one life. We tell ourselves to make the most of it. Other people tell us to make the most of it. But if you're not in a place where you understand and you're living into your purpose, that can be a struggle. It was for me. It was kind of an internal turmoil for me, actually. Because see, the thing is that I was good at a lot of things. I have a lot of different talents. But nothing I did really hit it for me. Nothing really was firing on all cylinders for me. Nothing was just perfect. Nothing really felt like home. And to me, that is how you know that you have found your purpose, because it feels like home. It's right where you need to be. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's like the last piece of a jigsaw puzzle. You finally find it, and it gets put precisely into the place where it belongs. It just clicks. Now, some people will find their purpose early in life, and others, raise your hand, will spend what seems like forever looking for it. So if you haven't figured out what your purpose is yet, don't worry, you will. And the time that you are spending searching for what that purpose is actually much needed time in development so that you can fully step into your purpose when you do make that discovery. And that's exactly how it was for me. If you've ever heard the phrase Jack or Jill of all trades, that is how I would describe myself. Lots of talents in many different areas, lots of interest, able to do a lot of different things and do them well. Excuse me, but I found myself on the other half of that phrase, which is master of none. So jack of all trades, Jill of all trades, however you want to say it, master of none. And that was part of my struggle because, again, I was good at a lot of different things, but not one thing really hit it right on the nail for me. So the thing about that is all of those skills, they were needed. They were needed to develop me. They were needed to nurture me. They were needed to help me grow so that I could step fully into my purpose once it was revealed to me. Now, listen, my friends, no matter how it may seem, that wait is not in vain. It's not. There is a development process that's happening. There is, growth that's happening. You may not see it while you're in the middle of it. It's taken a lot of self-reflection on my part for me to actually be able to go back and look at all of these different things, all of these different circumstances, all of the different experiences, all of the different skills and talents that I have that have been grown and developed over time to put me in the position where I am now. And so for those of you who have not yet discovered your purpose, how do you do that? Think back to when you were a kid. What did you want to be when you grew up? Now, this one should have been a clue for me right off the bat, but when we're children, we don't think anything of this, and even as we're young adults, we don't think of this, and it's usually only after we get a little bit older and actually can have some measure of self-reflection that we can see this. But for me, when I look back when I was a kid, I was interested in everything, absolutely everything. I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be a singer. I actually wanted to be Tina Turner. She was my childhood idol. And seriously, be Tina Turner. Not like her, but be her. 6-year-olds don't know any difference. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be an accountant. I wanted to be a coroner. I wanted to be an investigator. I wanted to work for the FBI. I wanted to be a secret agent. I wanted to be about 75 other different things too. But all of the things that I wanted to be, in some way, shape, or form, helped people. A nurse. I don't think I ever really wanted to be a doctor. I have thought about, being a shrink or something like that, but really an investigator, all of these different things, they help people in some way, shape, or form. And you see, that is my purpose. That's my calling in life. It's to help other people. And that has shown up in so many different ways over the course of my life, throughout my life. Again, as I look back on it, I can see all of the different things that I've done, all of the roles I've played, the positions that I've been in that directly impact other people for their good. But it wasn't until last year that was actually made clear to me so that I could see that that's what all of that was for. And why is that? Well, because I needed all of those experiences. Everything that I'd had up until that point, I needed all of those things to put me in the right place so that I could be in the proper position to really help people. So go back to your childhood. If you're still struggling with what is your purpose and why are you here and what are you called to do, go back to your childhood and think about what it was that you wanted to be when you grew up. What brought you the most joy? What made you smile? What really just brought it out of you? And now look at what you do as an adult and what brings you joy now. And somewhere where those two paths intersect, where those two things cross, that is where you're moving in the right direction to your purpose. That is where you're finding it. Because remember, when we're kids, there's not all of this adult stuff that gets in the way. When we're kids, we're joyful about what it is that we're doing. If we enjoy something, we do it because that's the beauty of being a child. You don't have as many rules and, what other people think. And for the most part, kids don't care what you think about them, which is one thing that's just so wonderful about them. And I wish we kept that as we grew up, but we don't. And that is usually where things get cloudy for us, is because we start to worry about other people instead of worrying about the one person that you spend the rest of your life with. You spend the rest of your life with yourself. So going through that process of determining what your purpose is so that you can fulfill it is absolutely necessary to living a life where you have joy in what you're doing, where you find purpose in whatever it is that you're called to do, because you know what that is. Now, there's no magic pill to this. You can't read a book and figure out your purpose. Well, maybe you can read a book and it'll lead you down the path, but the thing is that no other person can look at you and say, you should be a doctor. You should be a lawyer. Now, I will say, I tell my oldest son that, because he can argue like no one's business. He'll be great at it if that's what he decides he wants to be. But that's up to him to figure out. Just like it's up to you to go through that process to understand really what your purpose is. Because you have one, I promise. You wouldn't still be here if you didn't have a purpose, excuse me. So, but you really have to do the self-discovery work to figure out what that purpose is. It is there, I promise, it is there. So as you go on that journey, I do encourage you to read different books. Go through and understand what your likes are. What are your dislikes? Your turnoffs are also an indicator. They kind of help guide you on the path to your purpose, because life is not always about figuring out what you want or what you like. Sometimes it is about figuring out what you don't want and what you don't like. Going back to earlier when I said I wanted to be an accountant at one point, loved numbers, thought that they were fantastic, fascinated by the whole accounting process and how you make money work and all of that kind of good stuff. So I thought, I'll be a CPA. That'll be a really great thing for me to do. I actually took a class for it, and my second year of taking accounting, it occurred to me that CPAs do other people's taxes for them. And I didn't want to do my own taxes, let alone do someone else's taxes, let alone have someone come to me with a shoebox full of receipts and say, here you go, file my taxes for me. Nope, didn't want to do that. But there are a lot of things that I learned in that process of going down that journey, because it's what I was interested in at the time, that have served me later in life, that served me to help others with struggles that they were having, or help them to understand how to navigate through difficult financial situations. So everything that you're doing, all of your experiences, they all culminate into what your purpose is. They all lead up to it. It's just a matter of what point on the path you discover that. And like I said, for some people, it's early on. And kudos to them, because hopefully they get to spend a really long time serving out their purpose and doing what they love. For others, it's later. For some, it's much later. But that's okay, because again, everything you're drawing up into that point is to prepare you to step fully into that purpose. So you do have a purpose, I promise. You just might have to do a little work to figure out what it is. So if this has been helpful for you, please like and share this video, and so that others can also benefit from it. Thank you to everyone who joined us live tonight, and to those who are watching in the replay. And until next time, I am Crystal Freie, a woman's best friend, teaching women to see themselves, love themselves, and transform into themselves, into the women they were created to be.